team is going to buzz the ball on you. But you can't quit. You can't let up.
Noles All Access is brought to you by the energy-saving conservation programs of Tico People's Gas. Real Coca-Cola taste with 0 sugar and 0 calories. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Taste the feeling. Welcome to Noles All Access, where we take you inside Florida State athletics. I'm Jay Sutton, and today we'll talk with head coach Leonard Hamilton to recap the matchups against Miami and Duke. Then, we'll meet the designated weatherman on the basketball team, Harrison Prieto. And later, we'll sit down with senior point guard, Trent Forrest. All that and much more is up ahead on Noles All Access. Well, Coach, you all were able to complete a season sweep of the Miami Hurricanes with a convincing win at home in a game that Miami came out pretty aggressive in attacking the basket, and you all were going back and forth for a little while there for a stretch during the game, but I think it was ultimately the depth of your team that was the deciding factor in the game. I think you all had 54 points off the bench. What were your takeaways from that game?
Well, this probably was a little more challenging than what the final score would indicate, because I believe it was about 6 or 7 minutes to go. It still was a 6 or 7 point game. Obviously, I think we won by about 18, I believe, and we got the green team in. And the highlight was T-Light. I'm sorry,
T-Light.
T-Light.
That's right.
T-Light's 3-pointers. But I thought that they did a real good job offensively in the game plan. They kept us at bay, and that's the way normally the games are going in the ACC, regardless of who you're playing. They're normally really contested. Every once in a while, you'll have a blowout or what might appear to be a blowout, and I think that was the case in the Miami game. It appeared to be a blowout, when in reality, with about 7 minutes to go, the game is still in doubt.
But Coach, let's talk about the Duke game. Tough loss on the road, and I could throw a bunch of fancy numbers and stats at you, but I really feels like it comes down to execution. And it's just one of those nights where shots weren't falling, due in part to Duke's defense. But when you look at that game, would you agree that it was just one of those nights that the execution quite wasn't there?
Well, I think it was a combination of a lot of things that sometimes doesn't necessarily meet the general public. Duke has a mystique that about their program. They've earned the right to be there. They play in that type of moments all the time, that atmosphere where people give them the utmost respect. And I thought that they executed their game plan because they were more familiar with those type of atmospheres than we were. But even with all that said, we had plenty of moments that we could have pulled the game out. Number one, the number 1 free throw shooting team in the ACC, and we go 12 of 20. We had 7 point-blank at the rim layups that we didn't complete. And I didn't think we did a very good job. You know, obviously I think we're number 2 in terms of 3-point percentage shooting. And I was most disappointed in that area because you get wide open threes because your teammates create those opportunities for you through ball movement and player movement. And I thought we weren't sharp enough to create indecision on Duke's part. The ball didn't move as well. And I think there lies a team that was a little bit more prepared mentally, and you got to give them credit. Hopefully we learn from it, and that we'll be better as we move forward. But because of what we've learned mentally and emotionally from that game.
And that's exactly what I was going to ask you, Coach, because after the game, Trent Forrest, who had an amazing game, by the way, 18 points, 9 rebounds, and 8 steals, he said that he felt that the team would learn from this loss. And so from hearing you talk, do you think that the lesson from that loss would be how to deal with your emotions, how to deal and being able to execute in a tough environment like that?
No doubt about that. We understand, and that's not an excuse, but we have 6 new guys that we're trying to, that's not familiar with the environment and those level of games. And we really have only 2 seniors on the team, regardless of what you might say, Trent being one of them and Dominique being the other because he's transferred in. And I just thought that contrary to the way we have played, that moment will teach us a lot about what the mental frame of mind we should be in as we move forward for the remainder of the season.
You know, you mentioned playing in front of a tough crowd. You'll play in front of another tough crowd coming up, but it'll be on your side this time as we return home against Syracuse. So we'll talk about that a little later in the show. So stick around for that and much more coming up on Noles All Access. Coming up, we'll go off the court to see how Harrison Prieto is chasing his dream of a career in meteorology.
To be a member of the Florida State men's basketball team requires talent and intelligence. Harrison Prieto, also known as the Weatherman, has both.
When it comes to daily weather, I don't think he's ever been wrong.
He was an outstanding student who got nearly 100% on everything he did.
Enrolled in one of the country's top meteorology programs and being on a nationally ranked basketball team, Harrison Prieto brings a high level of excellence to everything he does. Not only are his basketball skills recognized, his time management skills also influence others.
You got to go day by day and do everything that you can in a day and hope everything turns out all right for you.
Florida State University's meteorology program ranks among the top 20 in the USA and best in the state of Florida, and where many students go on to work for the Weather Channel.
One of the things I've observed about student athletes is that if they're going to succeed, they have to learn time management. They also have to learn how to work hard.
No one recognizes Prieto's hard work more than head basketball coach Leonard Hamilton.
He represents that unconquered spirit Seminoles athletics stand for. And, he gives us a great effort every day with a smile on his face. And
Harrison's participation in the team sport of basketball helps him in meteorology because teamwork is a part of normal life, and it's certainly part of what students have to do in school.
With such knowledge and structured skills, Prieto's teammates look up to him, especially when traveling to away games.
You can always count on Harrison. When we're traveling, he'll talk about it, just kind of what to expect, especially if we're going up north. I mean, a lot of us, we hate being cold, so he'll kind of let us know what we need to bring and things like that.
Oh, I do not read the weather app anymore. Like seriously, even when we're not in the same state, I'll call him.
I definitely am going to go into meteorology after I'm finished up here. That's always been my #1 goal, and it always will be. And
now I watch him and I see him and I think he's a weatherman.
With the Weatherman's accomplishments on and off the court, Prieto has received national attention. Last year, he received an email from the Weather Channel saying they would love to hear his story.
They call him the Weatherman, and he makes it rain buckets on the court.
Harrison Prieto is balancing Florida State basketball with studying meteorology, and he joins us now from Tallahassee.
Super cool experience, because I mean that's something that growing up and knowing you want to be a meteorologist, you know, I always used to watch the Weather Channel. I'd watch Jim Cantori and Stephanie Abrams, so getting the opportunity to have a conversation with them, even just over Skype, a minute or two, that's super cool, and it's interesting to see how far you've come when you do stuff like that.
Prieto remains in his element as a student volunteer for the National Weather Service here on Florida State's campus. Through his basketball and school career, he continues to impress while making important connections through his peers and mentors.
He's likable by everybody. I mean, he's just that type of person that you'll want to help out, so I'm sure whatever he does, he's going to be successful in it.
I'm just really proud of him. He's such a nice guy, such a great friend.
well, having Harrison on our team has been something that all our players have appreciated, only because he has such great communication skills. It's all about getting better and contributes to helping us get better every day.
Yeah, it's been a fun ride, and I'm glad there's more of it to come. And I can't wait to see where we go this season with basketball. I think we're on a good trajectory here, so just got to keep it up.
As basketball season continues, the forecast for Harrison Prieto's future is brighter than ever before. He truly embodies the unconquered spirit. I'm Jacqueline Kissick for Noles All Access.
Coming up, Trent Forrest joins us for a special interview.
What's up, Seminole fans? I'm Kristen Chase, here to tell you about some of the exciting events coming up this week in Florida State athletics. Men's baseball will officially kick off their season with new head coach Mike Martin Jr. as they host a weekend series versus Niagara. Games will continue today at 2 p.m. and tomorrow at noon. Men's basketball will be hosting 2 ACC matchups this week. Today, they face Syracuse at noon, and on Tuesday, the Noles look to use their home court advantage to avenge their 2-point loss to Pittsburgh earlier this season. Tip-off will be at 8 p.m. Women's basketball will be traveling to North Carolina to play ACC conference rival Duke. The Noles went 2-0 against the Blue Devils last season and hope to keep the streak alive. Tip-off will be Sunday at 1 p.m. All right, Seminole fans, make sure you tune in or head out to show your support. I'm Kristen Chase for Noles All Access.
Thank you guys for coming.
The Fan Day is really a neat, concept. We started a long time ago, and it turned into, what it is today.
We just really appreciate everybody that comes out and shows the support to us. We're excited for this year. We're just trying to have some fun, and hopefully we can turn it into something good.
I love Florida State baseball because I'm trying to come here for baseball one day. My favorite part of Fan Day is definitely just the experience, just seeing everybody.
My favorite part is to get to see the new freshmen, get to see the coaches, get to interact with coaches and the players, and just wish them good luck on a successful season.
My favorite part of the Fan Day probably is just, interacting. It's a great day all around. An hour and 45 minutes of signing and meeting people, and they pay the money to sit there and cheer us on, whether it's hot, cold, raining or not, and it's a special time.
I mean, everybody that comes out and that shows the support, we really appreciate everybody that comes out.
I love coming out here. I've been a Seminole since '81. Wow. Same year as Mike Martin came here.
There's such a legacy at Florida State, so it's really awesome to have Mike Martin Jr. here too, and continuing on what his father developed and stuff.
We're just trying to be very loose. We all have very good relationships, and I think that's what makes us a good team.
My grandson is Brandon Walker. I'm hoping that he have a good season, and the whole team really have a good season, and we go back to the ACC tournament and on to Omaha for the World Series.
We want to win the whole thing, and we're not afraid to talk about it around here. We got to develop guys. We got to make sure they're in the right places. There's a lot that I want to accomplish, and this is a good group to start with.
Trent, how you doing, man?
I'm good, good.
Glad to have you here. First thing I want to ask you, because you've been around for a long time now, I want to ask you, did you expect this team to be this good coming into the season, given all the pieces that you lost and the new faces that you have here?
Knowing from where we came this summer with the new guys coming in to where we are now, if you would have told me we would have been in this spot, I probably would have looked at you crazy. So it's definitely crazy to see, because I didn't expect us to be this good during the preseason or over the summer when we were just kind of first getting around each other and kind of just getting used to the system. I didn't think we would be where we are now, actually.
Well, let me ask you this, because you are the elder statesman on this team. What has been your role in getting guys to mesh together and really understand what's going on?
Just getting to know each and every one of them, and then I feel like that just helps on the court, because you know how to kind of get through to each guy and kind of how to get everybody to work on the same page. And you do things as a team that kind of builds chemistry throughout the preseason, and even still while in season, you just do things, outside of basketball, going places, going to dinners, going to movies, things like that. And I feel like just building that bond off the court just meshes everybody together well.
I wanted to ask you, since you've been here, during your time here, what have been some of your most memorable moments during your time here at Florida State?
I would say definitely making it to the Elite Eight, being able to play in Staples that year. That was definitely amazing just to go through that run with beating Xavier and then getting Michigan in the Sweet Six or Elite Eight. I mean, it was just amazing just to go through that whole time frame while we were kind of just making that run to kind of put ourselves on the map, I guess you could say, to now just being in the position we are now. I mean, like you said, I didn't expect to be ranked this high or even this good during my senior year, but to kind of go out kind of on a strong note is amazing.
Let's talk about this. The FSU record books, you are 3rd all-time in steals, 7th in assists, over 1,000 career points. You made the Dean's List in 2017, 2019, Golden Torch Award, Academic Award in 2017. I can go on all day. This year you're on the Bob Cousy Award watch list. I don't think we have enough time to go through all your accomplishments, but what does that mean to you when you look back and reflect on your career?
It means a lot. Just kind of accredited to the reason why I came to Florida State in the beginning. Just believing and trusting in the coaches and what they had kind of planned for me, and just believing and trusting in the hard work. I mean, just with the combination of both of those and having a good faith, I mean, just believing in God and believing in the coaches, believing in my work ethic. And I mean, once you do that, you kind of just, you can put together a great story, I feel like.
An amazing story, Trent. And I think the last thing I want to ask you is, people are going to always have conversations and they're going to talk about great Florida State players. And your name is definitely going to come up. So how do you want to be remembered?
I would say as just a guy that worked hard, did it the right way, just believed in his coaches, believed in his teammates, and I mean, gave it his all every time he played. And I feel like, I mean, if you leave a legacy like that, you'll always kind of be remembered.
Absolutely. Well, Trent, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for being such an amazing student athlete and representing Florida State University.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we look forward to you having much success the rest of the season. Coming up, we'll preview the upcoming matchups against Syracuse and Pittsburgh. Coach, Syracuse is coming to town, and they're bringing with them the infamous Syracuse Zone. They're also bringing a legendary head coach in Jim Boeheim, and they're also bringing the top scoring duo in the ACC and Buddy Boeheim and Elijah Hughes, who's a game-time decision. But what do you like about this team? What should we expect this matchup?
Well, you say that they're the dynamic duo in the ACC speaks for itself. The zone defense has been a staple of Coach Boeheim's program, and it's been very effective. We know going in the game that we have to execute against it. What they're bringing to Tucker Center this time, though, is 2 prolific scorers that score inside and outside. And Boeheim has done almost the unthinkable, 18 straight points by himself in one game. And that's pro-type execution on the offensive end, and Elijah Hughes is the leading scorer, I believe, in the ACC. One guy, they have a freshman that has broken all scoring records in the state of New York, that has scored over 4,000 points in high school, and that's almost unheard of, and he's their point guard. So they're coming hungry for a victory, and we want to keep our record at home intact.
Well, you talk about keeping the record at home intact. Let me ask you this, Coach. I know you don't like to project too far ahead and you don't like to talk about the past, but if I don't bring it up, the producers, they'll start yelling at me. They get mean and mad at me if I don't bring it up. But the next game is against Pitt. And that was a game that you all faced them earlier in the season. And as the young folks say, they caught you slipping. What should we expect this time around?
Well, what you gotta expect, like most coaches, you can't even think about getting too far ahead of yourself. You have to concentrate on preparing yourself for what we know is going to be a very good Syracuse team. The good thing, one of the coaches who have been assistant coaches who have been working preparing us for Syracuse, then someone else is working on Pittsburgh. They have given everybody trouble. They played a lot of close games, even though they would like for their record to be better. That's the nature of the ACC. That's why you have to give all your attention to the upcoming opponent, and then we'll deal with Pittsburgh after we play Syracuse.
All right, sounds good. Well, fans, 2 big home games coming up here at the Tuck, and you come on out and see the real ball men on campus and see your team get some wins, some half-a-point wins. So for Coach Hamilton, I'm Jay Sutton, and we'll see you next week on Noles All Access. Noles All Access is brought to you by the energy-saving conservation programs of Tico People's Gas. Real Coca-Cola taste with 0 sugar and 0 calories. Coca-Cola Zero Sugar. Taste the feeling.